What do you need to know about a second stimulus check if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, or Veterans Benefits? Your questions are answered. Hey everybody, this is Alec with a second stimulus check and stimulus package update. We had said we were going to do 4 videos, but we decided to do a 5th. Here's a bonus for you. For the first time ever, this channel is doing a question and answer and is answering all 230 of your second stimulus check and stimulus package questions from yesterday about SSI, SSDI, Social Security, and Veterans Benefits. As you may not know, when this channel first launched, we did basically all questions and answers in the cases of EIDL and PPP and things like that. As this video became more popular, the comments sort of grew. And since I was able to get another recording done earlier today about SSDI, SSI, Social Security, and Veterans Benefits, and you can watch, I'll drop down the links above, I'm going to do a supplemental video for you today as well. This one will answer your questions. So please watch that earlier video today that says you do get a second stimulus check if you're on Social Security, SSI, SSDI, Veterans Benefits. But what I'm going to do in this video is answer your questions. Carla, these people need money more than anything. Very well said. Rachel, my husband is a disabled veteran and this is the first time I'm hearing about a stimulus check for them. Can you please elaborate? Yes. So your husband would get a check and you would get a check. It doesn't matter that he's disabled. It doesn't matter that he isn't disabled. It doesn't matter that he's a veteran. It doesn't matter that he isn't a veteran. What became an issue in May, earlier in May, under the CARES Act, they understood that some veterans may have had issues receiving their check. So what you do need to know, Rachel, is that his check may be delivered to him in the manner in which he gets his veterans benefits. So if he gets his veterans benefits by direct deposit, that's how he might get his check. Your check will come the way in which you often pay your taxes. So if you pay your taxes by direct deposit, yours would come that way. If you don't, then yours might come by paper check. But you'll both get it, and it may just get routed in different ways. Leo, most if not all SSI gets less than $9,500. I don't see any of this income limit anytime soon. No, that was regarding people on Social Security SA. As I detailed for you, if you're on Social Security and you're getting your Social Security checks, but you happen to have stocks and dividends or other types of things, investments that make you money, and you made a lot of money in 2019, over approximately $100,000, you will not get a second stimulus check. Remember, that is only for Social Security SA people who made an enormous amount of money last year. Ella, Social Security and SSI, I don't need it, but people need as much as I do. Philip, money doesn't mean anything to me. My creditors think differently. RJ Chavez, thank you for the info. It would be great help for SSI, SSDI, veterans, and Social Security. I hope it'd be retroactive. I don't think it's going to be. I agree, but I don't think it will. James, I'd like to know where my stimulus check is. I wish someone could tell me where it is. I didn't get my first check. If you watch today's earlier video, I go over why some of you may not have gotten a first check and how that will be different for the second check. So I know I'm seeing a lot of comments here. People are going to say, I didn't get my first check. Sadly, this challenge didn't exist then. But the reason why some of you didn't get a first check is no indication of whether you would get a second check. Marla, when are we going to get it? Probably late August, middle September. Christine, many will not get reelected. Jody, you seem to have good information, but it takes some time to explain. Patricia, there's a lot of detail in these videos, and there's a lot of nuance. Are you a dependent? Are you not a dependent? Do you file return? Do you not file return? Are you newly on benefits this year? Are you not newly on benefits this year? These things have to be gone through when we talk about SSDI, SSI, Social Security, and Veterans Benefits. I can't simply say you're all going to get it, because that would be totally false, and I would not be providing you a service in this video. I need to go through why IRS doesn't pay people the same way for each of those such circumstances. Patricia, I love the way you break things down for the people to understand. Well, thank you. Stephanie, what if I claim my daughter and she's over 17? Will she get a stimulus check? Yes. So she will get a stimulus check if there is no more than 2 other dependents on your tax return. Remember, there's that 3 dependent limit for the second stimulus check. There can't be more than 3 dependents. If there's a 4th dependent, the 4th won't get paid. Kevin Lee, I think America deserves more money. I agree. Roger, you said the IRS is handling the second stimulus check. What if I owe my previous taxes? Will the IRS keep it? No. Very great. That's a great question. Absolutely no. Olga, woohoo, they're letting us down. So they owe me all this money. Yeah, they absolutely do. They know these congressmen have not fulfilled their obligations to American citizens. Angelo, I'm a teacher. This is so complicated. Well, it takes time. Tracy, thank you for telling us the truth and how sad people don't know whether they got it or not. Sarah, hi, this is Sarah. I've not got my first check. Doesn't mean you won't get the second check. Terry, Venus, thank you, sir, for what you do. I'm a caregiver. I even told my boss I watch Mr. LALATE every day. Well, thank you so much. Ginger, thank you for being patient and slowly explaining everything to us. Yes, in some of the comments, I'll go a little faster now until I get to a question, and then I'll slow it down for you when I get to the question. Someone from the House or Senate needs to call the FBI. The FBI has nothing to do about your second stimulus check. Okay, Donna, I was claimed on my son's taxes for 2019, but didn't get a stimulus because I was a member of his household. I moved out on my own since May. Am I still unqualified? No. Great question from Donna, and that was covered in today's earlier video. The difference between the first stimulus check and the second stimulus check is people who are dependents. If for Donna, who was on her son's tax return during the first stimulus check, she did not qualify for a stimulus check. It doesn't have anything to do with SSDI. It doesn't have anything to do with Social Security. The first stimulus check said it would not be paid to people who are dependents, adult dependents, on other people's tax returns. The second stimulus check doesn't do that. It fixes that problem. So Donna, you could still be on your son's tax return for the second stimulus check and you would get it. But the good news is that you are no longer on, well, let me go over the nuance of Donna's questions, because hers is a great question. She said she's moved out. That means nothing for the IRS. You see what she's asking there? She says, I've moved out from my son. IRS doesn't care about that. IRS cares who is on the tax return. They don't care where you're living. So what we're talking about now is the 2019 tax return. Now, you say you were on your son's 2019 tax return as a dependent. Well, in May, the CARES Act, the first stimulus check, doesn't pay people who are dependents on other people's tax returns that are adult dependents. The second stimulus check does. So you will get paid for the second stimulus check. You are qualified. You will get paid on the second stimulus check. How you will get paid? Well, if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Veterans Benefits, and have been on it in 2019 or earlier, you will get paid the same way that you get those checks every month from the IRS. Pretty easy. Kay, I appreciate how you get straight to the news. Thank you so much. God bless. Kane, hopefully they'll pass the second stimulus check when they get back from vacation. They have to, because they only have to August 8th, and then they go up for re-election. So you know they're going to get it done. Sick choppers, you work so hard, risking your lives, and you get nothing. Andrew, What do we have to do to get this second stimulus check? I didn't get the first check. You may not have gotten the first check for a series of reasons. One, you may not have been qualified, eligible under the first stimulus package. Two, you may not have done the required steps. Ultimately, what I'm doing here is to inform you whether you are eligible and what you have to do to ensure you get the check. This channel did not exist then, so please do not use the first stimulus check as indicative of whether you're going to get the second check. Ginger, I know someone hasn't received their first stimulus check. I know a lot of people also haven't. It's in all these comments here. I know Ronald, I know a friend who's been waiting on the first stimulus check. You know, you could wait, people can wait for a first stimulus payment, but ultimately they may not have been eligible. What's important for you to understand is whether you're eligible for the second stimulus check. I don't want you to sit and belabor what's going on with the first one, because one, you may not have been eligible. Two, you may not have done what you were supposed to do. Or three, the IRS may not have known where you are. What I'm trying to do is ensure that you get the second stimulus check. Francis, thank you for all your help. I like in Mar Vista every day I hear small planes. Anyway, thank you so much for these keeping me informed. So you're in LA as well. Nice to meet you, Francis. Patrice, thank you for your help and knowledge and research. Thank you. Tori, I'm definitely grateful I received my first stimulus check. Susan, thank you so much for going into detail for Social Security. Yes. You know, you got to understand that whenever I do these videos, the answer for Social Security is the same as SSI, SSDI, veterans benefits, railroad benefits. Someone once said, what about veterans? And I hadn't mentioned veterans in that video. It's the same thing. The only thing that's different is if you're a Social Security recipient and you just have a lot of stocks and so you just make a fortune on dividends every year. You're making over 100,000. Otherwise, everything is the same. Loretta, thank you for the great information. Well, thank you, Loretta. Darian, I'm on SSI, SSDI. Will I get the second stimulus check? Well, I'm here to help you. Scott, thank you for all the great questions. Doris, I'm still waiting. Fran, I love your channel. Crystal, thank you for being so detailed. Doris, I love how you make sure we understand it. Yes, what I'm trying to do is make sure you understand everything that goes on, because when we talk about a second stimulus check, there is a lot to think about. One, are you eligible for it? Two, is it sent to you or is it sent to someone else? Three, how is it sent? Is it sent by direct deposit? Is it sent by paper check? Four, do you have to file anything with the IRS so they know where you are before you get a second stimulus check? So I am here to inform you about this. Ultimately, all this is very fluid and could change when the bill is passed. But it's not enough to sit back and say, where's my check? Where's my check? Where's my check? You can't just sit back and say, where's my check? Because ultimately, you may have not have been eligible for it, or you may have been required to do something and you didn't do it. Lavita, the major corporations have our checks. I love the way you say that so much. Tawaya, I want to ask a question. When does the second stimulus check and how long is the pandemic going to last? I don't know how long the pandemic's going to last. I'm not a medical physician. I'm not a biomedical researcher. All indications suggest that the vaccine will not be found until early next year at least. So that is generally what you should think about at the moment. When would the second stimulus check come? I believe it's somewhere in August to September. And I really got to say, I don't think it's going to be the only stimulus check. I think there's going to be more as this pandemic continues. Anaja, these multiple payments apply to people on SSI, SSDI, and veterans? Yes. So there's a proposal about different types of second stimulus checks. One, which is a $1,200 check. Second is a larger single check that's higher than $1,200. A third is six $2,000 checks, or until unemployment improves or the pandemic goes away. Whenever I talk about all these packages, they're the same for everyone. It doesn't matter if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, veterans benefits. It doesn't make a difference. Henry, thank you for the updates. Well, thank you. Melissa, what do you think about those who didn't receive the first one? I think that, my mom is on Social Security and SSI who hasn't received the first one. She may have been a dependent on your tax return. And if she was, she doesn't get it. The first one, the first stimulus check. Repeat, if you are a dependent on someone's tax return as an adult, if you are like a grandmother watching this and you're on your daughter's tax return, and you're elderly and you're on your daughter's tax return, you, under the first stimulus package, don't get a first stimulus check. Under the second stimulus package, you do get a stimulus check. So I just don't know everyone's circumstance. All I can tell you is what the rules were. So repeat, if you are on your daughter or son's tax return as a dependent for the first stimulus check, you don't get a first stimulus check. You aren't qualified. You aren't eligible. So it's not so much it was lost, your check. You just don't get one. For the second stimulus check, they got rid of that rule. They knew the rule was a mistake. They don't like the rule, Congress. They understood they made a mistake. So now they will pay you a second stimulus check if you are on your daughter's tax return as a dependent, with a catch. There can't be more than 3 dependents on a tax return, because second stimulus checks are given to up to 3 dependents on a tax return. I'll say that again. Your daughter has dependents on the tax return. All those dependents will get second stimulus checks, up to 3 of them. If there are 4 dependents on the tax return, 1 of them won't get a second stimulus check. If there's 5, 2 won't get second stimulus checks. It will only pay 3 dependents on a tax return for a second stimulus check. Tawai, I'm glad you break this down for SSI. It's so helpful. Monique, still waiting. Fran, thank you for getting right to the point. Sandra, I file jointly with my husband. I do receive Social Security. Will I get a stimulus check? No kids. I love this question. It's a great question. So Sandra's married. Her husband files a joint tax return for her and her husband, and she's on Social Security. The answer is 1 check will be sent to Sandra and her husband for double the amount of money, $2,400. Instead of, if the second stimulus check is $1,200, they send 1 check to husband and wife. That's the way they do these stimulus packages. If you're husband and wife, they send a double check, just a single double check. So instead of $1,200 to your husband and $1,200 to Sandra, they just send $2,400 to the husband. Now, how the check will be delivered, that's a little catchy. It could be sent to the husband at the husband's address, in the method in which he files the joint tax returns, because you are on his joint tax return. The fact that you're on Social Security makes it look strange. I mean, they may actually end up sending $1,200 and $1,200 separately. It's hard to say. But generally, when you're husband and wife, you get 1 check. The manner in which it's delivered, it will likely be delivered the manner in which that tax return is filed. So if you do your tax return and you ask for tax refunds by direct deposit, then it would come by direct deposit. If you have questions in today's video, drop them in the comments below and try to answer them in tomorrow's recording. As always, stay at LA for more.